Welcome to the class today. We are going to talk about some innovative processes in building vocabulary. When I say vocabulary, I don't simply mean building a stock of words for us to use. Vocabulary is, of course, it contains lexical items that we use. But the process involved in building vocabulary includes a lot more than that. As you can pay attention to, it's about the process. And the process is almost similar to that of what we have been discussing about structures. If we pay attention to the process and if we pay attention to how these processes function in the subconscious of our mind, we get to understand a lot about the process involved in building the vocabulary, in process in the making of words. We are going to do that. But that is one part of it. The second part, which is going to be the running theme, underlying theme, is there is a heavy role of socio-cultural context in building vocabulary, in the making of words that we use in our regular life, or sometimes we use words from selective domains, from different domains to make our language either impressive or enriched. Either way, it's part of a process. And I wish to discuss a few things about that with you. So, when we talk about context, we know that contexts are culturally dependent. So, the process of making vocabulary that we use in India, that people can use in different parts of India, they are going to vary on geographical basis. We are going to differ in terms of our uses, but more or less you will find a running theme in that. So, we have categorized this process in 4-5 domains, and we are going to talk about that. But please remember, socio-culturally embedded context is important. And in this, I would like to simplify this phrase for you. When we say socio-culturally embedded context, we mean society, culture, and context. The three work together, they are intertwined. We cannot look at culture out of society or society out of culture, and the context is embedded within that as well. So, the use of language in society is undoubtedly dependent on the cultural context. So, the linguistic competence being one part, that is, what is possible and what is not possible, is one part of this discussion. But the context embedded in society and culture has a lot to do with how we make words and how those words become either high frequency words for use in the society or low frequency words for use in the society or in our day-to-day language, in our spoken language. The other part which is important for us to keep in mind is the whole process of language use per se. It is also dependent on the context in the sense that whether the context is formal or informal. We pick words from different areas depending upon formal and informal nature of the use of language. So all these things play a huge role in the back of our mind when we either make the word or use them. We are going to look at some of them to see. One very productive pattern for word formation is adding prefixes or suffixes from ancient sources or resources. English has a very productive pattern of word formation using prefixes from Greek and Latin. You know, these are classical languages. Both Greek and Latin have ancient connection with English, and they have borrowed, that is, English has borrowed a lot from them, from these two languages, among many others. So we are only going to look at a few things to indicate the process to you. So in this discussion, I am not aiming at giving you a list of whole range of words. Rather, I intend to talk about the process, and then that will be useful to you in helping yourself see this pattern and find this pattern in words that you use. So look at this. There are some prefixes that we often find in words, and then these are prefixes and suffixes from Greek and Latin sources, so they become low frequency words in our language. So we have words like, look at this, like let's look at first examples. Aerobic or aeronautics. The first part that you see, aero, comes from Greek prefix er, which means air, and that can be combined with other words to make a new word like aerobics or aeronautics. Similarly, if you look at the other prefix geo, which means earth or related to earth, and then we get words like geometry, geopolitical, geography, and so on. The whole word geography is from this prefix geo, which is earth or related to earth. Hemi means half, and words like hemisphere comes from this prefix. Herb, it's related to, it's a word, it's a prefix which literally means related to plants, and then we get words like herbivorous or herbal, or it's a prefix that you find in more words. It's a very productive pattern. Hydro, it's water or related to water, means hydrogen, hydrochloride. When you use these words, when you see these words, hydrogen, the first part of this word hydro is a prefix which means something related to water. Hydrochloride, this is the name of a chemical. Hydro project, and more words with hydro and hydrogen, hydrochloride, hydroperoxide, hydro project, and so this indicates a productive pattern to us. Hyper, it means more or in excess. So in words like hyperactive, hypersensitive, when you see this word hyperactive, this prefix has a specific meaning. It's coming from another language, and we get words made of these prefixes, and these words become low frequency words. Plus, the moment you have words with low frequency, that is, words that occur lower in its frequency, in the number of times we use, they are also going to be uh, high cognitive, in the high cognitive zone. So the higher the cognitive level, the lower the frequency. This is a very simple rule. So all these words that you see are low frequency because they are higher in cognitive level. Why higher? Because they come from different sources. Hypothermia, hypothyroidism. Just look at the name. It is going to become low frequency. But the important part is, even if these are low frequency words, it is important for us to understand that there are prefixes from other languages. And once we understand these prefixes, the meaning of these words become easier for us. And above all, we cannot avoid these words in English language, and more in the domain of academic English, more in the domain of uh, uh, English from specific fields, the use of words in specific fields, and we quite often run across these words. Some more are like inter, which means between. So internet, interpersonal, these are some of the words that you can say. Intra, which means within. So intracellular, intranet, intracircular, intradependent. There are a lot of words that you will find with these things. Mega, these are common. It means big. So megabyte or mega star or mega performance. We use this with quite a number of words in English, and we find it very regular. So re means back or again, things like rebuild, redo, reuse, rebuild. These are some of the recycle. These are some of the words where we use these prefixes. Ultra is the literal meaning of this word is in excess of. So ultrasonic, ultraviolet, ultra sensitive, ultrasound. So we get to see these things with high frequency word, with low frequency word and high cognition word in English language. Unlike prefixes, there are certain suffixes which also get added to word to create innovative vocabulary in English. So side, look at this. This is a suffix. It means killer. So insecticides, pesticide, homicide. These are the words that you will hear in our regular domains, in our regular uses. So if we understand this word, this suffix side in these words or wherever we find them, it helps us connect, it helps us make sense of the word, make sense of the context, and in terms of meaning. So they are related to killing, death, forceful killing. So they become, so the meaning becomes apparent to us. Gamey, it's a union or marriage. So in the words like polygamy or bigamy, actually these are both. Poly is a prefix and gamy is a suffix. So if you see these words, we understand what they could possibly mean. So gen has literal meaning produce. So you see carcinogen, allergen, and so on. You get more words with it. Graph means writing. Words like cinematograph, telegraph, geograph. So you get more and more words with these suffixes where they will just help you get the meaning of the word. Ism, a very productive suffix which means act of. So words like multilingualism, journalism, uh, uh, feminism, socialism. So ism is a Hinduism. It's a very productive pattern uh, for word formation. Logy means science of or study of. You see in biology, astrology, geology. So any word where you see logy, logy, it's a suffix and it means study of. So it will be helpful in making the word nomi means knowledge of. So economy or astronomy. These are few examples where you can see the use of these words. War means feeding. So carnivore, herbivore, and so on. You will get more words. So in these 2 points that you see, we are trying to make with some examples is basically the point that there are some prefixes and suffixes from Greek and Latin sources which are very productive when it comes to low frequency but high cognitive high cognitively loaded words in English language, and we use them in a specific domains. Another one that is important for as an innovative pattern, as a productive pattern of word formation in English, or for that matter for the use of English, is English is one language which is not just widely spoken across the world, widely used across the world. It's true that English is widely spoken across the world and widely used across the world. As a result of that, it is one language which is in contact with most number of languages spoken anywhere in the world. So, for example, it is highly unlikely for Hindi to be in contact with Spanish or let's say French or German. But English is in contact with French, German, Spanish, Italian. At the same time, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Bangla, Indonesian, Japanese. It is not an overstatement if we say English is in one way or the other contact with all spoken languages of the world. If that is to be given and if that is true, then we also need to understand that English will be the language which will get or borrow words from most of these sources. So English will have words from all other languages of the world. It's just that English spoken in India may not have high frequency words in English from Spanish or some lesser known languages. So that's a description of why so many words come to English and why English is such a dynamic language. And it is this dynamism in turn which makes English one of the most widely used languages of the world. Don't mean to add comments which are not necessary for learning English, but as a footnote at this point, I do want to add that English being most influential language across the world, and English is the most widely used language of the world, not just because it was the language of British Empire. Of course, it was language of British Empire, and that has a huge role to play. But another reason why English happened to be the most widely spoken language of the world is because it has accepted borrowings from most of the languages of the world, and it got itself in a position to mix and to allow mixing from other languages of the world, which is what makes English one of the most dynamic languages. So if you look at English, it has borrowings from Celtic languages, which are neighboring languages of English, like basket, bachelor, beak, car, cross, clan. These are some of the borrowings from Celtic languages. Latin and Greek, we have seen prefixes and suffixes, but whole words, just a few examples are candle, circle, plant, preach, fall, smile. Very frequently used words are from Latin and Greek. Some words from Scandinavian languages are dirt, egg, kid, leg, skin, sky, window, man, wife. These are some of the very widely spoken high frequency words from Scandinavian languages. French words are restaurant, government, royal, evidence, grammar, logic, dinner, lemon, and so on. At the same time, Hindi has also influenced English, Hindi, and some other Indian languages. Many Indian languages, in fact, English has had borrowings from many Indian languages. Some of them are karma, jungle, loot, thug, juggernaut, avatar, etc. Dhoti, sari, samosa, rasagulla, from all other fields, dharna. We cannot have a whole list of word, but just giving you an idea that how it gets in. So what I was discussing a minute ago was, it is very usual for speakers of Hindi who speak English in India, or speakers of different languages who speak English in India, to identify these words and to get associated with these words, and maybe use more such words in English. But these words are used by speakers of other languages also. So the actual borrowing happens when some word comes in the language and are used by speakers of other languages also. So these are some of the words from foreign languages. And here foreign simply means not geography, but other than English. In this class, as part of this class on vocabulary, I want you to be familiar with another part. And I'm using a term here, as you can see, Instilingo. It's a specific code. Sometimes we use the word code for language also. At IIT Madras, and particularly among students. And the reason why it is among students, because it is the language of another generation. So Instilingo is the term at IIT Madras for the code used by young students of IIT Madras for a wide range of conversations among themselves. They are very productive grammatical patterns, makes the language and language use innovative, at the same time creates some sort of association and identity among the students. Now, for you, as part of this institute as IIT Madras, it is important to know, at the same time, why it is important for you to know is to see them as instances of word formation and creativity and innovation in English. So you will usually find youngsters at IIT Madras speaking words like firang, janta, sutta, chuma, kuti, vetti, enti. Now, important thing for you to notice is they are from Hindi, firang, janta, these are Hindi words. Sutta, Hindi word. Chumma, a Tamil word, which simply means, it simply means simply. And another word, kuti, from Tamil and Malayalam, means small. Vetti means jobless. Enti or entra means what? What? So as you see, A is the question marker in Dravidian languages. So it draws words from Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada, Hindi, all kinds of languages, and place them for use in a very productive pattern. They have suffixes, they have prefixes. I'm not giving you a whole list of things here. You will become familiar with this, and we will probably have another class on that. But just to make you familiar with the term Instilingo, and Instilingo as a term is itself an example of Instilingo, because it comes from it has two parts. One is insti, which is a shortening of institute, and lingo is a shorter form of language. So, and that becomes Instilingo, language of the institute. And there are more patterns in that. For example, you will also find people using shortening of words like insti and lingo, funda, which comes from a noun that is fundamental. So instead of using the full word, it becomes productive in using funda. Some words that can be used as gyan. Gyan has an ironic use, which is gyan literally means knowledge, but it is used as unnecessary knowledge, unnecessary information, and unnecessary talk. It's ironic. It's kind of oxymoron, reverse oxymoron in the language, but this is how it is used. So you will find a lot of such patterns being applied. Just wanted to introduce this term Instilingo to you. In the age of new media, the innovation in English vocabulary also comes from the use of social media, or what is also known as new media, and that has brought in so many words. The way society is introduced to internet, information technology, and computers in totality brings in a lot of vocabulary which did not exist as late as 20 or 25 years ago. So you will hear words. There are some new words and there are some words with newer meaning. We are bringing in just a few examples for you, and they are high frequency words, frequently used and perfectly acceptable English words for their uses. Tweet, it's a tweet. Facebook, Insta is a word that comes from Instagram. Remember, we were talking about Telegram, which has this suffix gram associated with this. Words like blog, meme, these are some of the newer words which has come and become part of English vocabulary with the influence of new media. You see a word like unfriend, which has come from the use of networking, social networking sites like Facebook, etc., where you can connect with somebody and become friend. In the real world, there was no term called unfriend, but the process of delinking with somebody socially on the social media is known as unfriend. So with that, this word comes in and becomes a new vocabulary in the realm of English words. Like had a different meaning, but the moment you use this word in the context of social media, it means an option provided by these applications for you to either like or dislike something, so that people get it. This is an option used to get an idea whether viewers endorse or not. And that term is like. Share. DP is a short form for display picture, but has become a word and is often used in the context of new media. WhatsApp is name of a communicative technology, comes from English phrase what's up, has become WhatsApp, and it has also become a word in English. Follow or unfollow, troll, subscribe, viral. These things have loaded meanings. They are part of new media. They come from a particular domain, and they are legitimate words. They have specific uses, and our familiarity or unfamiliarity with these words indicate our connection with new media. At the same time, you will see some acronyms, specific acronyms which function as words in English. And again, they are used in social media. Some people can attribute to them as they are only used informally or among kids of younger generation or guys of younger generation. All that is true or might be true, but most important part for us to discuss here is this is the process of becoming a word in the language, and your familiarity with these words is going to be important in understanding people and the uses of language. And you see these things used being very often. In short, for good morning, people use GM, GN for good night, HB for happy birthday, ASAP. This is also very highly frequently used for as soon as possible. NBD for no big deal, LOL for laugh out loud, and so on. DP for display picture, BF for boyfriend, and GF for girlfriend. Another word, rest in peace, a phrase that we use when somebody dies, a short form RIP. We often see this written on the Facebook walls, in the Facebook messages or messaging sites, where we in a serious way express our condolence by saying RIP. Now, my point of introduction of this to you here in this class is innovation is associated with vocabulary. The entire process of building vocabulary is innovative. There are all kinds of innovations embedded in making a new word and bringing in for uses in different domains. And socially embedded cultural context is important for the use of these words in different domains. And our understanding of these words is imperative for learning and improving English language for us. At this point, before I conclude, I would simply say, as a matter of exercise for this word, is keep your eyes and ears open when people speak these words, people use them in front of you, and you can enrich your own domain, your own vocabulary by use of these, not just these words, but words like these, and keep yourself aware and updated with the uses, different uses in English language. Thank you so much. See you next time.